What if I told you electricity doesn't travel through wires? I'm Richard Feynman, and I spent my life asking questions that made people uncomfortable. This is one of them. You learned this in school. Electrons flow through copper like water through a pipe. Flip the switch. Electrons sprint from the power plant, race through the wire, hit your lamp, and boom, light. Beautiful story. Completely wrong. Not a little wrong. Fundamentally wrong. Here's something that should make you pause. Electrons inside a copper wire move slower than a snail, about 1 millimeter per second, sometimes even less. Your house might be miles from the power station. If electrons actually carried the energy, your light would take hours to turn on. But it doesn't. It turns on instantly. So what's really happening? The energy isn't traveling through the wire, it's traveling around it, through the empty space. The electromagnetic field, invisible, untouchable, carries almost all the power. The copper wire, it's just a guide, a suggestion, a boundary that says go this way. You've believed your whole life that metal delivers electricity. Metal barely participates. This changes how you see energy, light, even gravity. Because once you understand that power flows through emptiness, not matter, you realize empty space isn't empty at all. It's everything. Let me show you. Let's start with something you do every single day. You walk into a dark room. Your hand finds the switch. Click, light, instant, immediate, no delay. You've done this 10,000 times, never once questioned it. But here's the part your physics teacher never explained. At power station, it could be 20 miles away, 30, sometimes more. The wire connecting your lamp to that station stretches across neighborhoods, under streets, through walls. Now, if electrons carried the energy, if they really were the delivery trucks hauling power to your bulb, we can calculate exactly how long that should take. Electrons in copper drift at roughly 1 millimeter per second, sometimes slower. Let's be generous and say 1 centimeter per second. 20 miles of wire. Do the math. That's over 900 hours, more than a month. But your light turns on in a fraction of a second. Wrong. Something else is happening. Something nobody talks about. Here's the part that should bother you. We teach children that electrons flow like water. We draw little arrows inside wires. We say current, as if there's an actual river of particles rushing to your lamp. That's not an answer. That's a label. Labels make us feel smart. They don't explain anything. So let me ask you a different question, a better question. If electrons aren't delivering the energy, what is? Hold that thought. I want you to do something right now. Look at any electrical cord near you, your phone charger, a lamp wire, anything. You see plastic on the outside, copper on the inside. You've always assumed the copper is the important part. The plastic is just protection, insulation. What if I told you the plastic, or more precisely, the space where the plastic is, matters more than the copper? What if the energy is flowing right there in what looks like nothing? This sounds impossible. Let me make it concrete. Think about a simple circuit, a battery, a wire, a bulb. You connect them, the bulb glows. Standard explanation. Electrons leave the battery, travel through wire, pass through the bulb's filament, heat it up, make light, and return to the battery. Nice and simple. Completely misleading. Here's what actually happens. The moment you connect that circuit, something else wakes up. Not electrons, something surrounding them, an electromagnetic field. This field exists around any wire carrying current. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it's there. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The energy, the actual power lighting that bulb, travels through this field, not through the wire, through the invisible space around it. The wire isn't carrying electricity. The wire is guiding it. Like a riverbank doesn't carry water. It just tells the water where to go. The river flows between the banks. The energy flows around the wire. Think about what just happened. Your entire mental picture of electricity just broke. Those little arrows inside wires, misleading. The flow of electrons? Barely relevant. The copper itself? A boundary, a fence, a suggestion. The real action happens in what looks like empty space. And this isn't some fringe theory. This isn't my personal opinion. This is basic electromagnetic theory, established in the 1800s, known for over a century. Yet somehow we still teach children the wrong model. Why? Because the truth is stranger. The truth is less intuitive. The truth requires you to believe in something you cannot see. But I never cared about intuition. I cared about what's real. And here's where it gets even stranger. Let me tell you what's actually happening inside that wire, or rather, around it. You flip a switch, a battery connects. Instantly something wakes up. Not electrons, fields. An electric field appears. A magnetic field appears. They wrap around each other, spiraling outward from the wire into the space surrounding it. This is the electromagnetic field, and it's the most important thing you've never seen. Now here's the part that breaks your brain. These two fields, electric and magnetic, don't just sit there. They move, they propagate, they carry energy outward from the source at an incredible speed. How fast? The speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. That's why your lamp turns on instantly. The energy doesn't wait for sluggish electrons to crawl through copper. The field explodes outward at light speed, reaches your bulb in microseconds, and delivers the power. The wire didn't carry it, the field did. Exactly. Let me say that again, slower. The energy that lights your room travels through empty space at the speed of light. The wire is just there to shape the field, to give it direction, to say, go to the lamp, not into the wall. Think of it like this. Imagine you're at the ocean. You see waves rolling toward the shore. Those waves carry energy, tremendous energy, enough to knock you down. Now ask yourself, does the water travel to the shore? No. The water moves up and down. It stays roughly in place. What travels is the wave pattern, the disturbance, the shape moving through the water. Energy moves through the ocean without the water itself going anywhere. Same thing with electricity. The electromagnetic field is like the wave. It carries energy forward. The electrons in the wire, they're like the water molecules. They jiggle a little. They drift slowly. But they're not what's traveling. The field travels. The field carries the energy. The field is everything. Now here's where your intuition completely fails. I want you to do something right now. Find two magnets, any magnets. Refrigerator magnets work fine. Hold them close to each other. Don't let them touch. Feel that push, that pull? Nothing is connecting them. No wire, no rope, no physical contact. Yet something is clearly happening. A force exists between them. What's creating that force? The magnetic field. It fills the space between those magnets. It's invisible, it's intangible, but it's absolutely real. Real enough to push, real enough to pull. This is why the field is the real story. You can feel it with magnets. You can see its effects everywhere. Yet we keep talking about wires and electrons as if they matter most. They don't. Now, let me show you why this matters for electricity. When current flows through a wire, it creates a magnetic field that circles the wire, like invisible rings stacked around a pole. At the same time, there's an electric field pointing from one wire to another, from positive to negative, from high voltage to low. These two fields exist together, perpendicular to each other. And here's the key. Where they overlap, energy flows. The direction of energy flow isn't along the wire. It's perpendicular to both fields, into the space around the wire. This sounds abstract. Let me make it concrete. Picture a simple circuit again. Battery on one side, light bulb on the other. Two wires connecting them. The electric field points from the positive wire to the negative wire, across the gap, through the space between them. The magnetic field circles each wire, rings of invisible force. Where do these fields overlap? In the space between the wires. And that's exactly where the energy flows, not inside the copper, between the wires, through the air, through the nothing. Beautiful. The copper guides the field, the copper gives it shape, but the copper doesn't carry the energy any more than a riverbank carries water. The river flows between the banks. The energy flows between the wires. And here's the strangest part of all. If I made the wire out of a perfect conductor, zero resistance, superconducting, almost no energy would flow inside the wire at all. 100% of the power would travel through the surrounding space. The better the conductor, the less it participates. The wire becomes more and more like a boundary, a guide, a suggestion. The field does all the work. So why do we even need wires? Good question. We need them because fields spread out. They dissipate. Without wires to guide them, the energy would scatter in all directions. The wire focuses the field, keeps it tight, aims it where we want it to go. But the wire isn't the delivery truck. The wire is the road. The field is the truck. And the road doesn't carry cargo. It just tells the truck where to drive. Hold that thought, because it's about to break. Someone figured this out over a century ago, and nobody believed him. The year is 1884. A physicist named John Henry Poynting sits in his study in Birmingham, England. He's been staring at Maxwell's equations for months, the same equations everyone else has seen, but Poynting sees something different, something disturbing. He asks a question nobody thought to ask. Where exactly does the energy go? Not how much energy, not what kind of energy. Where, physically, in space? Which direction does it travel? Seems obvious, right? Energy goes through the wire, from source to load. Simple. Poynting does the math, and the math says something impossible. The energy doesn't flow along the wire. It flows into the wire, from the outside, perpendicular to the surface. Wait, let me say that again. The energy approaches the wire from the surrounding space and enters sideways. It doesn't travel inside the copper from the battery to the bulb. It converges on the wire from the field around it. Poynting publishes his paper. He shows the equations. He draws the diagrams. He proves, mathematically proves, that electromagnetic energy flows through space, not through conductors. Nobody believes him. This is why the textbook version is nonsense. Physicists in 1884 had the same intuition you did 5 minutes ago. Wires carry electricity. Everyone knows this. It's obvious, and completely wrong. Here's what Poynting discovered. He created a formula, we now call it the Poynting vector, that tells you exactly where electromagnetic energy flows and how fast. Point by point in space, you can calculate the energy movement. And when you apply this formula to a simple circuit, the energy flows through the air, through the empty space around the wires. It skims along the surface of the copper, but travels primarily outside it. The wire guides this flow, shapes it, contains it, but the wire is not the medium. Space is the medium. Nobody believed him. Think about what that means. The mathematics was clear, the equations balanced, the predictions worked, and still, physicists resisted, because it violated their intuition. It contradicted what felt true. This is why I always say, nature doesn't care about your intuition. Nature does what it does. Your job is to watch carefully and accept what you see. Poynting saw it. Poynting accepted it. The world took decades to catch up. Now here's where it gets even stranger. Poynting wasn't working alone. At the same time, another physicist named Oliver Heaviside reached the same conclusion independently. Different country, different approach, same answer. Energy flows through fields, not wires. Heaviside went further. He cleaned up Maxwell's original equations, 20 equations, complicated, messy, and reduced them to the 4 elegant equations we use today. And buried inside those equations is the same truth. The field carries the energy. The wire is a boundary condition. 2 brilliant minds, same discovery, same resistance from the scientific community. Why? Because this truth is uncomfortable. Think about what it implies. Every electrical engineer who ever designed a circuit, every textbook that shows electrons flowing through copper, every teacher who drew little arrows inside wires, technically incorrect. Not lies, not useless. The simplified model works well enough for most calculations. But it hides the deeper truth, and the deeper truth matters. Because once you understand that energy flows through fields, through empty space, you start asking bigger questions. What else flows through empty space? Light. Obvious, right? Light travels through vacuum. No medium required. That's what makes it light. But here's the connection nobody makes. Light is an electromagnetic wave. It's made of the same electric and magnetic fields that surround your lamp cord. The same pointing vector describes its energy flow. Light doesn't need wires because light is pure field. And the electricity in your walls, also mostly field. The wire just tags along. Now zoom out, way out. Every star in the sky is a nuclear furnace. Hydrogen fusing into helium. Tremendous energy released. How does that energy reach Earth? 93 million miles of empty space between us and the sun. No wires. Pure field. Electromagnetic radiation streaming through the void. The pointing vector pointing straight at your face. Energy flowing through nothing but field. This is the same physics. The same equations Poynting wrote in 1884 describe starlight. They describe your lamp. They describe everything. Energy flows through fields. Fields fill space. Space isn't empty. Space is the medium. Poynting figured this out with pencil and paper in Victorian England, and was still teaching children that electrons carry electricity through wires. Meaningless. So far, we've learned this. Electrons move too slowly to deliver energy. The electromagnetic field surrounds every current-carrying wire. Energy flows through this field at light speed. The wire guides the field but doesn't carry the power. Poynting proved this mathematically in 1884. But maybe you're still skeptical. Maybe you're thinking, fine, interesting theory. Where's the proof? Show me something real, something I can touch. Fair enough. I've got 3 proofs for you, each one stranger than the last, and the third one happens in outer space. Proof number 1, a thought experiment. Simple, devastating. Imagine a circuit, a battery on Earth, a light bulb on the moon. I know, absurd. Stay with me. We connect them with very long wires, 2 wires stretching 240,000 miles through space, one from the positive terminal to the bulb, one from the negative terminal back. Now, the moon is about 1.3 light seconds away. That means light, or any electromagnetic signal, takes 1.3 seconds to travel from Earth to moon. I flip the switch. When does the bulb light up? If electrons carried the energy, if the standard textbook model were true, we'd need to calculate how long electrons take to travel 240,000 miles. At 1 millimeter per second, that's about 12 billion years, longer than the universe has existed. Obviously, that's not what happens. So what does happen? The bulb lights up in roughly 1.3 seconds. The exact time it takes for the electromagnetic field to propagate from Earth to moon at light speed. Think about what just happened. The electrons haven't moved, not meaningfully. They've drifted maybe a millimeter, still sitting near the battery, barely aware anything changed. But the field exploded outward the instant I closed the switch. It raced along the wires, outside the wires, at 186,000 miles per second. It reached the moon in just over a second. It delivered the energy to the bulb. Light. Instant. No electrons required. This is why your intuition fails. You imagine electrons as delivery trucks, fast, efficient, racing through copper highways. Wrong. Electrons are more like vibrating in place. Imagine a crowd at a concert. Someone pushes on one side. The push propagates through the crowd almost instantly, but no individual person moves very far. The signal travels fast. The people stay roughly still. Same with electricity. The electromagnetic signal, the field, travels at nearly light speed. The electrons respond locally, jiggling in place, but they don't travel anywhere meaningful. The field is the messenger. Here's another way to see it. What if I made the wires really weird? Instead of running them straight to the moon, I'd coil them up. 1 million miles of extra wire looped in spirals. Does the light take longer to turn on? If electrons carried the energy, yes. More wire means longer travel time. But that's not what happens. The light still turns on in about 1.3 seconds because the field doesn't care about wire length. The field propagates through space directly, the shortest path between Earth and Moon. The wire is a guide, not a highway. The field finds its own way. Now here's the part nobody tells you. This thought experiment isn't just theoretical. We test this principle every single day with technology you use constantly. That technology? Sitting in your house right now, probably within arm's reach. And it proves that energy jumps through empty space without any physical connection at all. Proof number 2, real technology, in your home, right now. I want you to do something. Look at your phone charger, not the cable, the little box that plugs into the wall. Or better yet, find a wireless charger if you have one. Hold it in your hand. You're holding proof that I'm right. Here's why. Inside that charger is a transformer, a simple device. 2 coils of wire wrapped around a core. That's it. Here's the critical part. The 2 coils don't touch. No physical connection. No wire running from one coil to the other. They're completely separate, isolated. You could put glass between them and it would still work. Yet energy flows from one coil to the other. How? Through the field. The first coil creates an oscillating magnetic field. That field expands outward, passes through empty space, and reaches the second coil. The second coil converts that field back into electrical current. Energy transferred, no contact, pure field. This is not a theory. This is how every transformer on Earth works. The power grid depends on it. Every phone charger uses it. That big gray box on the telephone pole outside? Transformer. Fields jumping through space. Think about what just happened. Billions of devices worldwide. Trillions of watts transferred daily. All through fields leaping across gaps. If energy really traveled through wires, transformers couldn't exist. But they do exist, because I'm right. Now wireless chargers make this even more obvious. You set your phone on a pad, no plug, no cable connecting phone to pad, yet energy flows. Your battery fills. Magic? No. Fields. The charging pad creates an electromagnetic field. That field extends upward through air, through nothing, and reaches the coil inside your phone. Energy transfers through empty space. You use this every day. You never questioned it. And here's the thing. The air gap in a wireless charger is about 4 millimeters. Tiny. But the principle scales. What if the gap were bigger? A meter, a mile? Same physics, just harder to capture efficiently. We can transmit power through pure field across any distance. The only problem is keeping it focused, keeping it from spreading out and dissipating. Wires solve this problem. They guide the field, keep it contained, aim it where we want. But the wires aren't carrying the energy. The wires are containing the field that carries the energy. Huge difference. Let me give you another example. Radio. Right now, radio waves are passing through your body. FM stations, cell signals, Wi-Fi. Thousands of electromagnetic waves crisscrossing the space you occupy. Energy flowing through air, no wires. Your radio antenna doesn't receive electrons from the broadcast tower. It receives fields, electromagnetic waves that traveled miles through empty space and induced a tiny current in your antenna. The tower didn't send electrons. The tower sent fields. Your whole technological world runs on this principle. Transformers, wireless chargers, radio, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, fields jumping through space. But maybe you're thinking, okay, those are short distances, millimeters, meters, maybe a few miles. What about really big distances, cosmic distances? Does the field still carry energy across the void of space? The answer is yes, and the proof is violent, terrifying, beautiful. Proof number 3. Let's leave Earth. Let's go somewhere violent. Imagine a star. Massive. 10 times bigger than our sun. It lives fast, burns hot, and when it dies, it doesn't fade quietly. It explodes. Supernova. The core collapses, crushed by gravity into something impossible. A ball of neutrons, packed so tight that a teaspoon weighs 1 billion tons. A neutron star. And some neutron stars spin, fast, really fast, hundreds of rotations per second. Imagine something the size of a city spinning faster than a kitchen blender. These spinning neutron stars have magnetic fields, not like Earth's gentle magnetic field, 1 trillion times stronger, so powerful they could erase your credit card from halfway across the solar system. We call the most extreme ones magnetars. Now watch what this implies. A magnetar sits in space, no wires, nothing touching it, just a spinning ball of magnetic fury surrounded by vacuum. Yet energy radiates outward. Tremendous energy. More energy per second than our sun produces in a year. Blasting across millions of miles of empty space. No copper, no cables, pure field. The electromagnetic field around a magnetar is so intense it warps the vacuum itself. Energy flows outward through nothing but field, traveling at light speed, reaching distances we can barely comprehend. This is not a theory. We detect these energy pulses on Earth. We measure them. We study them. Pulsars, spinning neutron stars, send radio beams across the galaxy. Energy transmitted through pure field across thousands of light years. The universe doesn't use wires. The universe uses fields. Exactly. Here's why this matters. When you flip your light switch, you're doing a tiny version of what a magnetar does, creating electromagnetic fields, sending energy through space. Your lamp and a neutron star follow the same physics, the same equations, the same pointing vector describing energy flow through fields. Scale changes. Principles don't. And here's the strangest part of all. Look up at the night sky. Every star you see is delivering energy to your eyeballs right now. Photons that travel years, decades, centuries, across the cold void of space. No medium, no wire, pure electromagnetic field. The light from the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, left 4 years ago. It traveled through nothing. Absolute vacuum. No atoms to carry it. No substance to push it along. Yet here it is, hitting your retina, making you see. That's the field. That's what energy really is. Not a thing that flows through matter. A disturbance that flows through space itself. So far we've learned this. Thought experiments show energy travels at light speed, not electron speed. Transformers prove energy jumps through empty space with no physical connection. Cosmic objects blast energy across the universe through pure field. 3 proofs, 3 scales, same answer. Energy flows through fields. Fields fill space. Space is the true conductor. But here's my question. If this is true for electricity, what else is it true for? What if this isn't just about your lamp? What if this is about everything? Let me tell you what this really means. It's not just electricity, it's everything. Every form of energy you've ever encountered travels through fields in space, not through matter, through the apparent emptiness surrounding matter. Let's start with the obvious one, light. You already know light travels through vacuum. That's what makes sunlight possible. 8 minutes from sun to earth. No air, no medium, just field. But think deeper. What is light? An electromagnetic wave, oscillating electric and magnetic fields, leapfrogging through space, self-propagating, self-sustaining. No wire required, no particle pushing it along. Pure field in motion. Your lamp creates a tiny version of this. The electromagnetic field around that wire generates light. That light is more field. Field creates field, creates field. It's fields all the way down. Now here's where your brain should hurt. Heat. You stand near a fire. You feel warmth on your face. What's happening? Most people say hot air rises, convection, molecules bumping into each other. Partially true. But hold your hand beside the fire, not above it. The air isn't carrying heat sideways, yet you feel warmth. What's reaching your hand? Infrared radiation, another electromagnetic field, invisible light, traveling through air, through space, at light speed, hitting your skin, absorbed by molecules, making you warm. The fire barely touches you. The field does all the work. Think about what just happened. Even heat, the thing that seems most physical, most material, mostly travels as field. Now, gravity. This is where it gets truly strange. Einstein showed us that gravity isn't the force pulling objects together. It's a curvature in space-time. Mass bends the fabric of space itself. Other objects follow that curvature. But even in classical physics, we describe gravity using fields, gravitational fields surrounding every mass, extending outward, filling space. The Earth doesn't reach up and grab you. The Earth's gravitational field fills the space you occupy. You respond to that field. You fall toward its source. Action at a distance, through field, through nothing. Wait, do you see the pattern? Electricity, magnetism, light, heat, gravity, all of them operate through fields in space. Matter is almost incidental. This is the deep truth. We think matter is the main character, solid, real, important. Space is just the stage, empty, passive, boring, backward. Space is the medium. Space carries the fields. Space transmits the energy. Matter is just a boundary condition, a place where fields concentrate, a bump in the road. You are not moved by what touches you. You are moved by invisible structures in the void. Let me say that again. Every force you've ever felt, every light you've ever seen, every warmth you've ever experienced came through fields filling the space around you. You've been swimming in fields your entire life. You never noticed the water. Here's another way to see it. What is matter really? Atoms, electrons orbiting nuclei. But what holds the electron in orbit? The electromagnetic field. What holds the nucleus together? The strong nuclear field. What causes radioactive decay? The weak nuclear field. Fields, fields, fields. Matter is made of particles interacting through fields. Take away the fields and particles don't interact. They don't clump. They don't form atoms. They don't form you. The fields create matter, not the other way around. Beautiful. So when you flip a light switch, you're not pushing electrons through wire. You're disturbing a field that fills all of space. That disturbance propagates outward. It reaches your lamp. The field deposits energy. Light appears. You pluck the string in the fabric of reality, and reality sang back. This is why I spent my life studying quantum electrodynamics, the theory of how light and matter interact, the theory of fields. Because fields aren't just a mathematical convenience. Fields are the fundamental reality. Particles are excitations in fields, ripples in an infinite ocean. The ocean is always there. The ripples come and go. You are not a collection of particles. You are a pattern of ripples and fields that fill the universe. Everything is. And the empty space between those ripples? Not empty. Seething with potential. Quantum fluctuations. Virtual particles popping in and out of existence. The vacuum itself hums with energy. Space is the most important thing there is, and your light switch touches it directly. So, where does this leave us? You came here thinking you understood electricity. Wires carry power. Electrons flow like water. Simple. Now you know. The wire is a guide. The electrons barely move. The real power flows through the invisible field surrounding the wire, through the empty space you've ignored your entire life. And it's not just electricity. Light, heat, gravity, even the forces holding your atoms together. All fields, all traveling through space, all invisible, all fundamental. You've been taught to trust what you can see, what you can touch, what feels solid. But the universe doesn't work that way. The universe runs on invisible structures, fields filling every cubic centimeter of existence, connecting everything to everything else. You flip a switch. You disturb a field. That disturbance ripples outward at light speed. It reaches your lamp. Light appears. You did that. You plucked the strings of reality. Here's what I want you to remember. Every time you see light, you're seeing a field. Every time you feel warmth, you're absorbing a field. Every time you pick something up, you're interacting with fields. You have never touched anything in your entire life. Not really. The atoms in your fingers never contact the atoms in what you're holding. They get close. Their electromagnetic fields repel each other. You feel that repulsion as touch. You've been touching fields all along. You've been swimming in an ocean you couldn't see. Now you see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I want you to do one more thing. Tonight, when it gets dark, flip a light switch. Watch the light appear. And remember, that light didn't travel through the wire. It emerged from a disturbance in an invisible field. A field that fills your room, fills your city, fills the space between stars. The same field that carries starlight across galaxies reached from your wall to your lamp. Same physics, same equations, same truth. You are connected to everything in the universe through fields, through the nothing that turns out to be everything. People say physics is cold, abstract, disconnected from real life. Wrong. Physics is the most intimate thing there is. It tells you what you're really made of, how you're really connected, what the universe is actually doing. And what it's doing is stranger than any fiction, more beautiful than any painting, more connected than any religion ever promised. You started this video thinking electricity flows through wires. Now you know. Energy flows through the invisible fabric of space itself. The wire just whispers suggestions to infinity, and infinity listens. Next time you flip a switch, remember this. The magic isn't in the copper. It's in the nothing. And the nothing is everything.